And then the final thing in phase one, it's Payments.ai. So my understanding is that there's a payment processing company, Payments.ai, that they acquired, and this was one of the ones that they rolled up into their existing ecosystem. And one thing that has happened, at least with some high-risk service-based companies, is if your payment processor shuts you down, you're pretty much screwed. So one of Russell's previous companies before ClickFunnels, where they were selling digital information products over the phone, pretty much the payment processor shut them down because they associated them as like high risk because they had some cancellations, and they had to pretty much lay off their whole entire 100-person staff like in days. So your company, your business can be, if you're doing big volume or you're in the, you have a launch coming up, you're in the middle of a launch, you can be at the mercy of a payment processor. So what Payments AI does is that it gives you the ability to implement multiple payment processors into the same Payments.ai platform. So if one doesn't validate and go through, you can have another one, right? So that's number one.
Oh, wow.
Number two is that if you have some kind of recurring revenue in your business, and also we all know if you don't have recurring revenue, you don't really have a business, right? So recurring revenue is the ultimate dream, the ultimate goal that every online entrepreneur should be trying to strive and achieve toward. One of the downsides with having recurring revenue is you experience some level of churn, right? Some level of attrition, some level of people dropping off, canceling every single month. And some of those churns and some of that cancellation isn't due to them wanting to cancel. It's just due to failed payments occurring because their card didn't process. So now what you can do with Payments.ai is they can put a backup credit card in there so that if the same way that you can with your Facebook business manager, if you're running ads, so that if your card doesn't go through, your ads don't stop, you can incentivize and tell your clients to put backup payment plan methods in there. So if their first one doesn't go through, doesn't process, doesn't work, it automatically will charge their backup plan, and it automatically will, I believe it can run it through different payment processors too, so that sometimes it doesn't go through because of the payment processor trying to run it. So it's like, but it will go through if you try to do it on another payment processor. So all that is happening in the background automatically on its own.
Wow, that is crazy.
So the whole goal, it's reducing churn, and talk about the whole manual follow-up process you then have to go do of emailing them saying, hey, can I get your new card on file? Waiting for them to respond, getting it on file, uploading their payment info.
Those are like, dunning emails. Dunning emails like can identify that their card's gonna expire, send them an email and say, update your credit card. So that's been around for a long time. I know ThriveCard has that. A lot of payment processors do that, right? But being able to plug in multiple payment processors, because I know it becomes an issue. Like if you have to, like for example, next month, all of a sudden, boom, $100,000 in transactions, right? You're probably gonna get shut down. If this is what they're saying, is that you could have multiple payment gateways and it could divide it up so that way you're not putting all your money in one place. That's crazy, because I know people who do launches. I remember when I used to do launches before, I would contact Stripe and I would tell them, I'm doing a launch. There's going to be increase in revenue coming through. Please don't shut down the account. I remember I learned to warn them about it to make sure it never happened. But I hear it happening to people all the time.
I heard that happen to people all the time with Stripe, and I also took the same approach for Anytime, because my main primary business is I help entrepreneurs create and launch product launches. And the whole base of a product launch is to generate the greatest amount of leads and revenue in the shortest time frame that you possibly can, right? So if you don't inform the payment processor that, hey, we've been not generating revenue here or generating a baseline of revenue here, and then we're going to have a big influx, don't freeze the account or shut it down. Typically they'll flag it or white flag it, I should say, so that you don't get shut down. And it hasn't happened to me since, because I've done that with hasn't happened to me at all with any of my clients, because we've done that. But a lot of people don't know that.
So do you think that with this Payments.ai, they're going to be kind of like their own payment processor, kind of like like Stripe?
Correct.
So that they're going to take a fee?
There are a lot of online entrepreneurs that create their own payment processing within their clients on their own platform, so that they can make a percentage of
No way.
any payment they receive and or any transaction that their client receives. I mean, yeah, you could set yourself up as a payment processor with a lot of different companies.
I didn't even know that. Is that what they're going to do? That's crazy if that's what they're going to do. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It's like, why is Stripe almost $100 billion valuation company?
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Because they're making 3% of every transaction. So it's like, if you just telling your clients the same way I would tell my clients to use ClickFunnels, say, hey, use this payment processor, and you can say, hey, this is my company, or it's a company I partner with, you could make a percentage of every transaction that they are running through that payment process.
Did he mention in the presentation that he's going to be doing that? Or he's just saying he'll connect to Stripe?
No, I'm not saying that is available in their Payments.ai. Payments.ai because they want to make that money, not us. But I'm just saying that there are other payment processing companies.
No, I know. I just want to know if Payments.ai is going to be a replacement to Stripe versus an integration. And I can see they're going to integrate with Stripe for sure.
100%.
But I just wonder if Payments.ai is like, I don't need Stripe. I just use Payments.ai.
My understanding is that is yes, but obviously people will still want to use Stripe. So I'm assuming just like anything, there will be an API that
That'd be crazy. Imagine they do that.
you can already have an API to use Stripe and not Payments.ai. I know that they're obviously want everyone to be using Payments.ai, I'm sure, to replace Stripe. Because, well, I don't know the exact number, but they've processed like some number of, I think like $14 billion or something insane on ClickFunnels.
Yeah. I know.
So like Stripe has essentially been the company that's like making the percentages of all that. And they're probably like, after the fact, why weren't we making the percentages of all that, Reddit?
Yeah, I know. Because like even if they ended up making it like, let's say Stripe charges, what is it, 3.5% or something like that? I forget.
It's like 3.5. You could get it lower if you're doing the volume or the number of transactions, but initially that's the baseline.
Yeah. So imagine they just did it at, even 1.5% or 2.5% or something like that. It would become like a no-brainer for a lot of people.
And the valuation of the business would be a lot higher because it's a whole new revenue stream.
It would be crazy. Yeah. I mean, that would just be nuts because processing fees is like, one of my biggest expenses. I remember like, it just always like, every time I see it, I was like, like you get this big payment for a client and then there's such a big chunk that gets taken out just to receive the money, so it's just like, holy. I think, kind of not too sure about this whole email systems and membership sites they're doing, but in terms of analytics and payments, I think those two features alone make it a no-brainer for them to level up the pricing, and that's crazy.
Well, the fact that we're still having to pay that much of the revenue we're making,
it's crazy. That's why everyone's really big right now on crypto, being able to receive money through crypto and stuff, right? Because it's like, yeah.
I had a high-ticket client pay me in Bitcoin. One of my clients, we did a product launch in 2016 where we accepted Bitcoin. I mean, I totally agree with that. My primary offering is a high-ticket offer, so I only process those transactions through ACH, and I don't even use like Stripe, so I'm not paying the fee.
What's ACH?
So ACH collections with Chase, it's just different way to process like the transactions. You can automatically collect payments from the external bank accounts, and it's called an automated clearinghouse. You don't pay on a percentage basis. It's like $10,
Right. We do stuff like that. Yeah. Just like a bank transfer.
Yeah. Cause if you're processing like $10,000, $25,000, $50,000 transaction, like I'm not paying Stripe 3%. If it's 10 grand, that's $300. So when you're doing high ticket, it matters a lot. But when you're doing volume at scale for front end funnels and lower ticket, it matters too. That's why the smart people are renegotiating fees. But I had one of my clients where I helped them do a launch of $1,000 course, and I told them to message Stripe and renegotiate the fee. They didn't, and they did $1.4 million in less than 5 days and paid the 3%.
Oh, wow. It's crazy.
I'm like, do you guys know how much money you just lost because you didn't renegotiate this fee? So I think a lot of people just take it for granted. It's just like, oh, that's just an expense. It's just a line item. So I think if someone, whether it's Payments.ai or someone else, can make it so we're giving up less of a percentage. And I believe that anyone who's doing high ticket should be processing through ACH and or running credit cards and passing on a processing and handling fee of 3% to your client if they want to pay credit card instead of ACH.
Yeah. Do you know about the buy now, pay later stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know what they're doing, right? They're trying to take market share by offering these payment plans with no fee. They get the processing fee from the seller, but they're giving these payment, which is helping to combat against Stripe.